What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update, and today we'll be starting with Fabio Paratici. And Jack Pitbrook said yesterday, saying it could take up to 5 days for the outcome of the sporting director's Fabio Paratici's appeal against his ban from football. But Damasio said yesterday it is possible for the decision of the judges regarding Paratici's case that will arrive tomorrow, which means it's going to arrive today, but we haven't heard anything just yet.
I'm assuming it just means it could take up to 5 days, but it could happen any day within the 5 days. Yeah. So have to wait and see which day the judgment falls.
It's day 2 now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit of a tense wait for all involved. I'm not saying I'm going to hope for one way or another. It just is what it is. But obviously, I do kind of hope he's innocent. But is what it is. Well, it's going to be but a lot is riding on these on this next few days for Tottenham.
Absolutely. Let's move on. Let's talk about Luis Enrique now, as talks are hotting up about Luis Enrique. Jacob Steinberg says that Chelsea have doubts over Luis Enrique after he made several demands during talks. Matt Law says that Chelsea have not placed Luis Enrique among the leading candidates for the permanent head coach job. There are no further talks currently planned, which could leave a clear path for Tottenham to make their move. Chairman Daniel Levy has previously expressed reservations over Enrique's lack of Premier League experience, but the Spaniard has been highly recommended to Spurs and is on the club's shortlist of candidates to permanently succeed Antonio Conte. And Romano says that Chelsea have called interest in Luis Enrique during the last round of talks. Chelsea were not happy with some of the points and feeling was not right. So if Chelsea aren't happy with several demands being made by Luis Enrique, how the hell are Spurs going to accept any of these demands?
We're going to meet your demands, Lewis. If you ask for 400 million, we'll spend the 400 million. Yeah, you would have thought that Chelsea have been bowing to, since Bowley, I mean, even under Bromwich, but definitely since Bowley's come in, like every demand of any manager, like, yep. I don't think Bowley knows the word no, I don't think. And even like when it comes to price negotiation, what price? Okay, yep. What price? Yep. So if Luis Enrique has said something to make him say no, that it must be quite the demand. And for him to then go around to Levy and have a similar demands is surely going to be a sticking point. Yeah. You'd have to think.
That's what I think. But
I can't see this working, to be honest, with Enrique. The only way, especially for sure, if Paratici isn't here, I don't think there's any chance we appoint Enrique. If Paratici is here, it ups the chances a tad, but I still think we should go in a different direction. I just can't see Enrique being the right fit for us, unless it's a case of trying to get a winner again, and now a winner to try and convince Kane. But I just think where the club are at, I think a manager like Enrique wouldn't be the right fit.
You know what's going to happen? They try to get a win now manager to keep Kane. Enrique will come in. Kane will be like, all right, I'll give it one last chance. You've got 1 year to prove yourself to me. In that year, Enrique's gone. Kane goes on a free next summer.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
That's probably how it will play out if Enrique does join Spurs. But let's move on to talk about some transfers, and let's start off with Levi Colwill of Chelsea on loan at Brighton at the moment. Tom Barkley says that Tottenham are among those who want Levi Colwill in the summer, who has impressed at Brighton on loan this season. Todd Bowley may be forced to sell some of his homegrown stars after spending 600 million this season.
I'd bring him in, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would. I really like him. Would he necessarily be first choice straight away? Probably not, but I think he could definitely grow into that role within a couple of years, 100%, as a bit like Konate when he first went to Liverpool.
Do you think Dyer's better than him at the moment?
No, I think he's better. I think he's better than Dyer, but in terms of yeah, I guess in terms of if we don't sign any other centre-backs than just him, yeah, he's first choice. But I would want another one as well alongside, because I think we need two centre-backs to play in that role. So, but I really like him. I think he's so composed on the ball. His ability and progressive passes on the ball is really impressive, and he shows a lot of composure, doesn't give it away easily. He's still young, he does make mistakes, needs to grow into himself, albeit he is quite a strong player for his age. I think physically he needs to grow up in the Premier League, because it's quite tough when you're a centre-back. But I've been so impressed with him at Brighton. I think he's shown, his game's gone on leaps and bounds, he's shown real maturity, and I think he's a really good ball-playing centre-back, and I think he's got a big future.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying, but I kind of just feel like any time these rumours come about with us and Chelsea players, is always going to be a non-starter just because Spurs and Chelsea don't do business together.
Yeah, I guess it depends if like Bowley feels that way as well. But I guess he's learning about the rivalry and stuff. Maybe that he doesn't know how much of a big deal it would be to sell a player to us. And we know Chelsea, I think, are going to have to sell a lot of players this summer because of all the how many players they've brought in. So I think
You
it
won't be
could
short of suitors, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Will we be? I think in terms of the players, the teams who could offer him proper game time, I think we would be near the top of the list, to be fair. But whether he wants to come to us because of the Chelsea connection, or whether Chelsea would do a deal with us, it's all big questions.
Yeah, all does remain to be seen. But let's move on. Let's talk about Manuel Ugarte again. Fabrizio Romano says that Tottenham scouts are always attentive to the Portuguese market. Tottenham are following a lot of players in Portugal, but for Ugarte, any negotiations would be later on in the window, not now. Well, seeing as we're not even in a window.
And we don't have a manager.
And we don't have a manager.
I think
or a sporting director.
Exactly. So we'll have to wait and see. I like Ugarte. I said that yesterday. I think he's a talented central midfielder, and I think he would fit into. I think he's a more technical version of some of the players that we do have. But look, it's up in the air when it comes to new transfers, isn't it, right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us on to the last story of the day regarding Jesper Lindstrom of Eintracht Frankfurt. Publication out in Denmark called Extra Bladet says that Tottenham are among the many clubs interested in signing Eintracht Frankfurt midfielder Jesper Lindstrom. He is currently valued between 35 and 40 million euros.
I like him, but I feel like he's too similar to Kulusevski. If I wanted more a competition for Kulusevski, I would probably go with someone with a bit more pace, because I think if you're looking, if we've got someone in Kulusevski who his strengths are good strength, good ability in the final third, picking out passes, got a good left foot, but he doesn't have that like searing pace. Lindstrom, he plays on the right, or you can play on either, but he mostly plays on the right.
He was mostly a left winger.
He plays mostly on the right, I believe. Definitely for Denmark he was. I'm pretty sure for Frankfurt as well. I think he can play
I mean, he's played mostly through the middle for Frankfurt this season, to be honest. 17 games through the middle, 3 on the right and 2 on the left.
I think I would say when I've seen him, he's been more of like a winger who cuts inside. But basically, he's very similar to Kulusevski. Like if Kulusevski played for Frankfurt, he also might play in the centre, you know what I mean? I see him in that kind of role, kind of attacking mid, slightly to the right, quite creative, got a good left foot. Good nimble player, but again doesn't have that like killer pace to give us too much of a differentiation from Kulusevski, in my opinion. So I would go for something different, but I do think he's a good player, and I do think him and Kulusevski rotating could be good, but I just think he's not different enough from Kulusevski to provide a different option.
Yeah, he's an interesting one, Lindstrom, because we spoke about him quite a bit coming into the World Cup, and he kind of like flattered to deceive a little bit at the World Cup, didn't really announce himself like the whole of the Denmark squad, to be honest. Every time I've seen him play for Frankfurt, he does seem to be a really tricky customer. So I'll definitely be up for it. I mean, I'll be up for seeing him in a Spurs shirt, but I just feel like we need players in different positions much more than we need him. I mean, I'd much prefer to go for like a Levi Colwill than to go for a Jesper Lindstrom right now, that's for sure. So yeah, that is it. That is all I have for you for a Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comments section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the news stories we brought to you today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.